1,756 yards. He was asked about the possibility of a receiver winning the NFL MVP. He said that he thinks he should be in the conversation this year. Now, according to Fox Bet, here are the odds. Jefferson, a long shot, shall we say, to win the NFL MVP. If you notice, Jalen Hurts has tumbled down the list. I think that's a sign that he probably will not play this week.
Right.
Or that, it's Mahomes' to lose. What do you think about Justin Jefferson?
Well, I wouldn't give it to him just because it's due, right? Like, I don't think that's... Yeah. When they gave Westbrook the MVP, it was more of a story that, he had the ball in his hands. But I do think this is the rare player that doesn't play quarterback or running back. They are 11-0 in one-possession games. That Buffalo game was one of the top 3 or 4 receiver moments I can ever remember. Now, there may have been many that were better. I mean, Randy Moss had a couple of unbelievable games with Brady. But if you go back to that game, Kirk Cousins on the road against Buffalo's defense, his history tells you he gets blown out in that game. That was Kirk Cousins' most impressive win, and it was the most impressive moment by a receiver this year. So that moment was like, whoa, what are we looking at here? This is Randy Moss stuff, literally taking over a game.
I believe he goes up against Jair Alexander this weekend in a Packers-Vikings game that is enormous. Colin,
don't you feel like
Minnesota's
got to lose one of these one-possession games? This feels like Green Bay's weekend.
No team in NFL history has won this many one-score games ever.
It feels like it's Green Bay's weekend.
Then it sets up for Packers-Lions in Week 18. Packers, they need some help from the Giants or Washington. But
let me ask you
I think the Packers are getting in.
I don't want to speak for our management, especially since I'm wearing my hat on backwards. I shouldn't speak for a vapor. But if you're asking me if it's a bad thing that Aaron Rodgers can sneak into the playoffs, that's a great thing for all of us. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, nothing against Jared Goff and the other guys on the line. The Green Bay Packers are a top 3 brand. That's like, you don't have to love Dak or Mike McCarthy. Cowboys in the playoffs, Green Bay in the playoffs is fantastic for all of us.
Who would you rather watch against San Fran? Carson Wentz or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Here's the scary thing. I don't know that Rodgers will have ever come into the playoffs with lower expectations, right? They weren't even supposed to make the playoffs.
Good point.
There's no pressure on them. Last year there was pressure.
And, no, that's a very good point. They're getting healthier. I still wish they'd run more with Aaron. I love Aaron Jones.
I don't know what happened to him, man. I have him on my fantasy team. You don't care, but I snuck by into the finals. He didn't do anything. Colin, time to buy some Packers win the NFC futures? I mean, Eagles are beat up. Cowboys defense has gotten shredded the last, 3 games.
Buccaneers only can play in 2-minute drill offense.
They're garbage. The Buccaneers are terrible right now. And the other team is Minnesota, who we don't trust at all. San Fran. Packers and Aaron Rodgers could make things very interesting here. Final story, Colin. Let's go to the NBA. Anthony Davis has been out since injuring his foot December 16th. Lakers 1-4 without him. By the way, I was at the Lakers-Hornets game Friday.
Yeah.
Got some tickets hooked
up. With your kids, yeah.
Devastating loss for the Lakers. I mean, goodness gracious. Hornets are one of the worst teams in the league. At any rate, losing the last 4 in a row for the Lakers. They lost to the Mavs on Christmas. LeBron has made it clear that they miss Anthony Davis.
But the reality is that, without AD, we lose a lot of length, which we don't have already. So, we have to make up, in ways that, without AD is just very difficult, very challenging. So I think at one point we had a lineup of, I think AR was the tallest guy on the court.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a rocket science to figure that out.
LeBron is having an unbelievable season.
All NBA levels, for sure.
No, I mean, he is. If I said to you 5 best players in the league.
Oh, he's on the list.
Giannis is obviously there. Luka's there.
Steph Curry's hurt, but you got to have
him there.
Him, yeah.
LeBron James.
And then your call, is it Jokic? Is it Jason Tatum? Jason Tatum's off the charts right now.
Yeah.
The internet loves Jokic, but can I see something in the playoffs before we put him
it's fair.
in?
It's fair.
Jamal Murray carried them in the playoffs in the bubble, okay? Let's be real. Sorry, I like Jokic. He's really good, but LeBron, at his age.
It's insane. He had 2 dunks in a game. You may have been at this game. No, it was the game before that.
Yeah.
He had a couple of dunks in the game. And I was like, take your breath away stuff. Tomahawks, he's in year 20.
Yeah.
I'd be like Brady. Well, I mean, It's Brady winning the Super Bowl.
The weirdest part is LeBron's leaving it all on the court, and then two players go to help him up, and you're like, Max Christie? Who the hell is that? And Austin Reeves? Like, LeBron, he's really playing with a bad lineup.
No, I mean, he is LeBron in any 8-minute spurt. If you take out Giannis, in any 8-minute spurt, is the best player in the league still.
Would you hold it against him if he went into Rob Pelinka's office and do something? Help me. What are we doing? He should be doing this.
Of course. At some point, you pay Mahomes, you pay LeBron, you pay these great players. They get one time. Now, LeBron did that with Westbrook.
That's correct.
So, team that can trail 24-0 to a playoff-level team like Houston a few years ago and come back. But it's Mahomes, it's Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo dials up good playoff defenses, Kansas City at 2.
Number 1.
For the second straight week, I have Cincinnati at 1. J-Mac was selling this stock like crazy 2 months ago, and I said they lost to Dallas. And I said the second half of that Dallas game, that's who they are. The real key to Cincinnati isn't Jamar Chase. It's not Joe Mixon. It's Joe Burrow plus this. They're one of 2 teams that have the same starting offensive line in each of the first 15 games this season. So the key with Cincinnati now, Burrow's not getting hit. Burrow has a lot of time. They've got 2 running backs if one goes down, multiple receivers if one goes down. This is how you build an NFL team. And we don't know if Zach Taylor's a great coach, but we have to be honest about this. You can't win as many big games and close games as Zach Taylor has done. He deserves credit, too. He's from the McVay tree. For the record, Sean McVay's coach in Minnesota, 11-0 in one-score games. Sean McVay tree coach in Cincinnati, been to a Super Bowl. So what is happening is Sean McVay is becoming the Andy Reid of this generation, where his assistants are sponges. They soak up his information. Brandon Staley's from his tree. He just made the playoffs. So there is my herd hierarchy. What do you make of it?
No holes at all. This is probably your best effort of the season. I just can't get over the hat backwards. You look like you're about to talk to some teenagers about vaping. You know? I'm sorry. I can't contain myself. The internet's going to have some fun with this, Colin. I have a feeling.
That was funny.
Thank you.
Kids, don't vape. I will say, I've always liked when my quarterbacks, and I'll just do this for a second, when my quarterbacks come to the podium on Wednesday and they have the team hat on and Century Bank behind them and they address the media. I think this looks kind of like a college frat boy, which, by the way, when I clean my garage out every year, and you got to go into the crevices and the corners, we all do it in the spring, I wear my hat backwards.
Interesting.
I don't love the look publicly, which is why I'm being shamed today. No vaping. All right, do we have Nick Wright? Is he here or not? Oh, we do. It's not on the screen. All right, let's bring on my buddy, First Things First co-host, Nick Wright. Look at this.
What's up, my friend?
You look like a 70s. You're like a member of the Beatles.
Okay.
You look so good.
Okay.
And look at this.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Did you see, you know how you say, and I want to talk about your herd hierarchy in a moment, but you know how you say our show is the only show in sports with no budget?
Yeah.
Did you see what we did Friday to celebrate Trevor Lawrence's arrival to the playoffs? We had professional trumpeters in full royalty costumes come out on set. Just throwing money away, Colin. That's what you can do when you're the only show on sports TV with no budget. Can I have a few qualms with the herd hierarchy?
Sure.
Can I just throw it?
Of course.
All right, so I agree with a lot of it. You said one thing, though, about the Jags that I don't know if you totally believe, which is you said they're one and done in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they beat Tennessee in 2 weeks and they're at home, you don't think the Jags and Doug Peterson could beat the Chargers in Jacksonville in a playoff game in a 4-5? Because I think they could. I think Herbert versus Lawrence is very, very close. I like Peterson more than I like Staley. That would be a home game for them. The Chargers having to go all the way cross country. I actually think the Jags could win that game and find themselves in the divisional round. The other thing you said, you just took a shot at me. You're like, everyone likes the Bills except Nick Wright. I'm just the only truth teller in America when it comes to everyone's favorite quarterback, Josh Allen. Colin, Would you believe me if I told you that over the last 10 weeks, Josh Allen is 30th in completion percentage, 26th in passer rating, and has the most turnovers of any quarterback in the league? That's 2.5 months of football. He's supposed to be their strength. Their other strength was Von Miller, who's done for the year.
Yeah.
So that, to me, I understand they're winning games, but I think Cincinnati's going to be a handful for them on Monday.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say is this. I agree with you entirely on Cincinnati, but you mentioned the continuity on the offensive line. La'el Collins being lost for the year with the torn ACL.
Yeah.
I want to see how they deal with that.
Right.
Because that has been such a huge part of their success, and now he's gone.
Yeah, he was real spotty early in the year. I think he got his stuff together, then he got hurt. It's a bad time in the year for some